Hi there, and happy Halloween, all you fellow artists. My name is Christy Woodland, and today I am going to talk about painting a albino pumpkin. Now, everybody knows about the regular pumpkin and how great they are, but I thought it would be a neat idea to try something a little different. So, what I want to talk about are the steps to prepare your pumpkin, cutting it, and then painting it and finishing it off and storing it in a cool area. So first of all, it's suggested that you take a tablespoon of bleach and put it in a gallon of water and then wash off your pumpkin. So get all the dirt and grime and everything off of it. And then wash it off with clear water, set them aside, let them dry for a couple hours till they're really dried out. The next thing is, in order to give it a good finish, in order to set it up for painting, it's suggested to use Liquitex, or I like Mod Podge. It's a really great sealer, and I use it on all different types of art products. And so just apply it with a brush, paint it all throughout all the surfaces, and then let it dry overnight. It takes a while to set up. I live in Colorado, so I've been storing them in my garage in between snowfalls so that they're nice and cool, because they prefer cooler temperatures. And then once everybody probably knows how you go about cutting your pumpkin. You use a very sharp knife and you're very careful. You cut off the lid. Now, I made this one very different, so I like the little zigzag design on it. Cut all of the inside out. If you're going to make a pie, save that. I used to do that. It's the best pumpkin pie in the world. Otherwise, throw it away, scrape it out really well, and keep the bottom flat on the bottom of the pumpkin so you can put your candle there. Then, what I did here is what I'm going to do on reverse here. So I painted I carved out the holes for the eyes and the mouth and the nose, and then I painted it with all different types of acrylic paint. Now I use a lot of Blick. Blick paints are great paints. They last a long time and they're pretty inexpensive. And then there's also Liquitex. It's another acrylic paint. And so what I did that I don't normally do is, because I'm painting it, I made a template. Now this makes it a lot easier to get the pumpkin set up for your design. So here's the template I made. I did the outline of the face, and all of the areas that I want to cut out I highlighted, and then the areas that I wanted to paint I noted in the color I want to paint them with a magic marker, so I have kind of a key. And what I did initially is I put the pattern, the template, on the pumpkin, taped it on, and then traced it with a very sharp pencil and drew in all of the areas that I wanted to highlight. So I have a pattern here, and it's somewhat transferred on. You can also take this pattern, and in all the areas you're highlighting, take your pencil and highlight it, make it very dark here, and then attach it, and when you draw and push onto it, it will transfer the pencil lead onto your pumpkin, so you have kind of a pattern. So that's what I did this year, just because I really wanted to make it very precise. And so once I've done that, now I have my water set up for my brushes and all my paints. I use these, you can use a paper plate or a palette or whatever, but I like these little containers because it keeps all my colors separate. You can get them for very inexpensive at Hobby Lobby or Michael's. And so the first thing I'm going to do is start with the orange color to paint the pumpkin face, the total opposite of what I'm doing here. So just start painting. This is going to be the base for everything else. You can add a little water if the paint feels like it's not flowing very well, which is why I have this water here. And it's best to mix that on a paper plate before you apply it to your pumpkin, but you get the idea. And then do a nice little outline of the orange all the way down around the mouth. This is a really fun project with kids, and they can just go crazy with the paint or be more precise if they're older. But it's a great project for any age, especially mine, because I have this huge love of pumpkins, always have. I lived in Steamboat Springs several years ago and had a garden where I raised pumpkins, and it was some of the happiest times of my life. So now that I have the orange face pretty well put on there, I'm going to wash out that brush and put it aside, and then move on to my next color, which is the purple. I'm going to start up here at the top and add the purple with a smaller brush. I have my colors in order here for ease, and I'm just going to paint a very simple line up here. Little stripes here. It doesn't have to be perfect unless you're a perfectionist. It's more fun just to have fun and not be so worried about it being an exact science, because after all, this is the fun, spooky time of year, and we're supposed to be having fun with this. So there's the little highlight of the pumpkin there with the purple. Next, I'm going to highlight the red areas, and I'm not doing the red lips this time like I did on this one. So I'm just going to do these two little hearts up here at the top. I have this red ready to go. And oops, this acrylic is pretty thick, so sometimes it is best to dilute it a little bit with water, but it doesn't really matter. It'll look great at night no matter what. And another heart over here. The great thing about this is I'm tapping into the right side of my brain, that creative side that brings me closer to the universe and takes me out of all those exact thought processes. That's why I say it's just fun to let it flow, not make it exact and perfect, and move on from there. Okay, we have the red, and then I have blue dots above the red hearts. So I'm going to go use that same red brush. These acrylics are easily washed out with water, so you can just keep using your water and moving on. You don't have to use more than one brush, but I did just for ease. So now the thing about dots is you can use, if you have a thick enough brush, like this one for instance, you can use the tip and make the polka dots that way. I found that's a really great way to do it. That way it's a lot easier, but for these, they're just a little bigger, so I'm just going to use the brush, I believe. Just do a little dot up there, a little dot there, and then I have these cheek designs that are also in blue, so I'm going to use a different brush for those, and a little bigger brush because it's kind of a big design and I really want to show it off, the little spiral. And it's right under the eyes. I can barely see it right there. So just do a little circle with the blue, putting more paint on as I go. And the same thing on the other side. And you can make it as big a circle as you want, but I'm just going to stick with that for ease of this video to keep it short and sweet. And then I have the yellow dots over the eyes and the yellow dots around the blue. Hope you can see that. And so I am going to do what I said and use that big brush and the tip of the brush and make little polka dots over the eyes to give it a little more emphasis there, and you just dip it in like so. The more you get on, the more dippling effect you have, and the easier it is. Just dip it and dip it right onto the surface. Like I said, the more paint you get on, the easier it is. It gives it the dimpling effect, and it stands out really well. And then I also have them in circles around here, around my little designs here. So I'm going to put them around here and around here. 5 and 5. And last but not least, unlike the lips here, which are lipstick types of appearances, I am going to use the black because it's scarier and it's more Halloweenish. And I think I'll use this brush. I'll just use this brush and do the same thing because it's a lot easier to use the back wooden tip of the brush to get that good circle effect. So just coming down around here to give it some scary looking maybe teeth or whatever the Halloweener will imagine it to be. Be generous with the paint and just dip it on there. And there you go. So now I will probably let this set up a little bit, let it dry for a couple hours, and then go through with a exacting brush and draw the outline in black to finish it off. And then of course after a day or so when it's dried, putting Liquitex back on it or a Mod Podge, any sealing coat will help it be preserved and look beautiful and shiny. So I hope you have a happy Halloween. This is my first YouTube video ever, so I hope you'll come back weekly. I plan on having all kinds of great fun things to do, artful crafts to make, things to give away near the Christmas time that you can make. And please like my video, share it, and comment. And until next week, happy Halloween.